You knew Her Majesty personally. Let's cut away all the regal magnificence of this second longest reigning monarch in the history of the entire world. What was she like as a person?
I think the thing that surprised me most, Kim, was her humour. And the nice thing is, over the last year, I think more and more people, former members of staff, people that have met her, friends and family, have spoke about this humour. And that's the one thing that really surprised me more than anything, because like the rest of you see this very regal lady, the Queen, and then when you get to know her and get to see that she had, as I used to call it, a glint in her eye, it was great fun. And you never kind of knew, she would suddenly do something or say something that would catch you off guard, but it was done in a really nice way, and it was to show you, I think, how she was just fun and down to earth. And don't get me wrong, she was definitely a business lady. She knew how to do the job of being Queen, but behind closed doors, she had a really fun, not mischievous, but just a fun, down to earth, and I say kind of almost like kind of the granny, as I used to call it, the granny kind of effect, where she kind of do things you just didn't expect, and she would say things that just make you kind of giggle or laugh. And I even remember on one occasion, I went to announce dinner to her, and we were walking down this corridor, and she suddenly started running down the corridor. And I remember thinking, where is it in the Butler's manual that tells you what to do when the Queen runs?
Yeah.
So
you had to jog alongside her, assumedly.
Literally, well, I did a kind of trot next to her. I can't explain it. It was the most weirdest thing I've ever done. But when we got into the room, the dining room, she kind of looked at me, smiled, and gave a wink. And I thought, absolutely amazing.
Come on then, Grant, talk us through your magic moment when you danced with her. This was presumably the annual staff party that they always threw.
It was the Gillies ball.
Did you go up to her and say, "How about a dance then, Liz"? No, tell me seriously. What did you say to her, and how did it unfold? Come on.
It wasn't. Are you dancing? You're asking. The reality was, I had this dream when I was a child. I got invited to go to the ball. In the ballroom, I was hiding initially because I was terrified of actually dancing with her, because I remember thinking, this is what's going to happen. And the new Queen, Queen Camilla, she actually came to find me, as she'd promised prior to arriving at the castle. She'd said that if I go to the ball, she would dance with me, and sure enough, she did dance with me. And we danced a wonderful little dance. And during it, I got really nervous. And I remember Queen Camilla saying to me, "What's wrong?" And I said, "I've had this dream ambition since I was young to dance with the Queen, and I think it might happen tonight." And I remember her saying to me, "There's about 150 people here. I think you're quite safe." At which point we stopped because the music stopped, and I turned round because she kind of looked a bit startled. And I turned round, and behind me was the Queen, and she just kind of held her hands up and said, "Right." And the next thing, I went into this reel with the Queen, the then Prince Charles, the late Prince Philip, the Queen Camilla, myself. So there was a few of us in there, and it was extraordinary. One part of it, you get to dance with. I got to dance with the Queen, and it was just.
Did you talk to her while you were dancing, or?
I was too scared, Kevin, because the reason was...
Join the party then, Liz.
She watches your feet. I promise you, if you look at footage of the Gillies ball and look at the Queen, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about, and she'll even tell you off. There's footage of her telling
really?
Prince Philip off. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Well, because Prince Philip would get the steps wrong, would he?
If he was doing a step wrong or something, you see how can I doing this kind of thing. Really funny.
That is funny, and also because when she was in Balmoral, that was where she was the most happy, I think, the most content.
Absolutely.
It was like her natural environment, and she was known there in the local villages. She would drive out on her own. She'd go shopping on her own, pop into the shops, chat to everyone. That was the Queen. Well, that was not Queen Elizabeth. That was Elizabeth, wasn't it?
It was. I don't know if you know, Kevin, they had a little house in the estate called Craignagown Lodge where they used to go before arriving at Balmoral, so they'd be there a few weeks before. And I used to always kind of laugh. I think the nickname was Mr. and Mrs. Windsor, and as you've mentioned, they were just themselves. And you went into the local town. They went and did shopping. Again, there's some great footage of this online, which I think is brilliant. Where you see the Queen, which I've seen that side of her, but people get to see that side of her where she just goes on with it and just does things. And it wasn't until even in later years she still went into town. I mean, obviously it was slightly different because you've got more tourists, but she still did things, and I think it just showed you how they just did things on their own.